afternoon. So glad to have you with us this afternoon for another Collins Speaker Series. We're very pleased to have you with us, and we're very pleased to have the opportunity of providing these programs to our students and our faculty and to a lot of individuals across the community. So thank you for coming. My name is Frances Coleman, and I'm Dean of Libraries. You can turn to the back of your program, and you will see there the sponsorship for this program. The series is named after W.H. Bill Collins, who was with us for many years, and who, after his death, Dr. Marty Wiseman and I got together and wanted to continue the emphasis that Dr. Collins had had on bringing speakers to the campus and to our students and to the faculty here. So we were most fortunate in doing that. Our sponsors are there on the listed on the back of the program, so I hope that you will review that information and be aware of the support that we have for this program. Our program today certainly features an outstanding individual, and one that if you have not heard him earlier today, Representative Flaggs, I know you've been on campus, but this is an individual that has really done so much for our state and is helping us move forward. I've had the opportunity of working with him on some library programs, and Representative Flaggs, I certainly do thank you for that support. You've been most helpful. Dr. Jerry Gilbert, the Associate University Provost, will bring official greetings today, and then Dr. Marty Wiseman will introduce our speaker, and then we will hear from the Honorable George Flaggs. We will hear from Ms. Holland, and this is a busy young lady. If you don't know that, you have seen her on the campus TV and see how active she is. And I was down in Jackson for a meeting, and goodness knows, here she comes. And I said, well, you could have ridden with me. And she said, no, I had two things before I came down here. And so thank you for being with us, Lori, and we're very glad to have you, Dr. Gilbert.
On behalf of Academic Affairs, I want to welcome you to this Collins Lecture Series. It's great to have a distinguished legislator like Representative Flaggs with us today. It is very much a pleasure for Academic Affairs to endorse the Collins Lecture Series because it allows us to extend and enhance the educational experiences of our students. Education is not just about the classroom. It includes opportunities such as this to interact with some of our outstanding public servants. So again, I welcome you, and I invite you to participate actively in this learning experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gilbert. I've looked forward to this opportunity to introduce to you Representative Flaggs. As I was thinking about remarks I could make, I can almost remember Representative Flaggs' entire career in the legislature. I remember when he came there, he was like a lot of young legislators, a firebrand who was going to change the world on any given day, and he was quite effective as a legislator. I've watched him mature into one of the real leaders of the Mississippi House of Representatives, one I've come to appreciate a great deal. Chairman Flaggs is a 20-year veteran of the Mississippi House of Representatives. He's about to begin his sixth term, having just won re-election with over 70% of the vote in House District 55, I think it is, over in the Vicksburg area. As I said, I've come to have a deep appreciation of Representative Flaggs, not only from the honorable way in which he conducts his business in the House, but for his keen political instincts. On more than one occasion, I've braved the halls of the legislature during a session, only to spot Representative George Flaggs and avail myself of the latest news on political maneuvering. His explanations and up-to-date descriptions of the political landscape have saved me from plenty of grief. That's why I believe that during this time of political retrenchment by both political parties following the recent elections, the timing is perfect to have Representative George Flaggs come to speak to us. He's been heavily involved in the give and take of the race for Speaker of the House, as well as the activities of VPAC in its efforts to maintain the position of the Democratic Party in the Mississippi Legislature. Chairman Flaggs is from Vicksburg and is a graduate of Vicksburg High School. In addition, he's a graduate of Hines Community College and Jackson State University with a degree in industrial technology. He's a member and past chairman of the Legislative Black Caucus and a member of the Executive Committee of the National Black Caucus. His list of awards for his legislative and community service is quite lengthy. In the legislature, he currently serves as chairman of the Juvenile Justice Committee. He also serves on appropriations, gaming, and public health and welfare, and on the all-important Joint Legislative Budget Committee. Chairman Flaggs and his wife Linda have 2 children, Emery Janine and Elliot George, and 1 grandson, Nicholas George Flaggs. Now, many of you students here, and maybe some faculty, certainly know Elliot. He is a student here at Mississippi State who'll be graduating in December in industrial engineering. I'm indeed pleased to invite to the podium Mississippi Representative George Flaggs.
Certainly to the Dean of the Library, Mr. Coleman, to Dr. Gilbert, Dr. Wiseman, and certainly to you, Lori Hollins, and to all of you here this evening. Never once would I have dreamed of being here today to give you a small but simple perspective of how I got involved in politics and why it's so important that you get involved into politics or whatever your endeavor may be. I'm so honored, Dr. Wiseman, that when I first met you, the encouragement words that you gave me to keep on keeping on to stay the course has meant so much. And I'm out with Paul's right now, Dr. Wiseman. You have always been one of my mentors. I need you to know that now. And I enjoy your readings and in fact, one of my campaign managers along the way was a student, Dr. Wiseman. He spoke highly of him too, Omar Nelson. I guess I'm double honored to be here. I served with John Grissom, and to be on his campus and to be in this room named after John and to see his writing and to just reminisce and reflect on John. And I saw John about 2 weeks ago at the Hilton Hotel that was sponsoring a benefit program, and he was the keynote speaker. And I remember John's son, and to see his son grow up to be so tall, look just like John. And I walked up to John, and normally I would say, I'm George Flaggs. I didn't have that opportunity. John said, George Flaggs still around. Because when I went to the legislature, John sit over me, and John was a very, very good legislator, and he was a good person to follow. He was a person that had this well-balanced about the approach to the legislature, and we followed him. And in fact, I remember the time to kill, we was at some of our colleagues' house, and we had to go out in the rain to get some of the books, the time to kill, to bring inside because they was literally in his trunk. And now all of a sudden, John is phenomenal. But we're not surprised in the Mississippi legislature. Let me do 2 things. One, beyond thanking Mississippi State and the president, I see John, who works with us in the legislature here. Let me just say how proud I am of the student and the faculty in this university. And I must be honest, I'm a little biased because I have a son here. But I'm telling you, every time I've ever come on this campus, Mississippi State has had the kind of welcoming greetings that tells the story, the real story about Mississippi and its potential. The real story about Mississippi when we full fund education. The real story about Mississippi when we approach our potential and we do that. I say it all the time, is that I don't understand how we can have 8 of the best universities in the country and can't keep all of our graduates here in Mississippi. I think the Nissans and the Toyotas is going to help us, but we can have some of the best and brightest students in this country. I say it all the time. When given the right resources and the right opportunity, I put a Mississippi student up against any student in the country. And I say that because I'm a graduate of Jackson State, a product of Hines Community Junior College, and some others. But I say that because I've been on all the campuses, and I'm telling you, Mississippi is where I think we ought to be, and it's where we should be at this time, given what the legislature have not done. But I'm telling you, I think this election spoke volume to what is to be expected in this state as relates to education. I don't know a single candidate that won without being committed to education. And that speaks volume. We've come a long way. I think that it means that we'll be able to retract the potential that we have in this state. I don't know who is responsible for inviting me here, but I owe you, and I probably owe you more than I could ever pay you for inviting me here today to be one of your series speaker here today, and especially Dr. Morris, W.H. Bill Collins series. I think I go down in history, and I'm glad it's after the election, because at least I'll be there 4 more years. I was really taking a chance on agreeing to speak here before the election, and I might have been presumptuous in thinking that I was going to win and be here, because I'm going to be honest with you now. Had I lost, I probably would have been here too. But anyway, let me just share with you, because I know that I'm among Mississippi's best, and faculty, allow me to just talk to the student, because I think I have a story to tell. I had no idea that I wanted to be a politician. I've always wanted to be a lawyer. But I won't tell the real story behind my travel in trying to be a lawyer. But anyway, I didn't get to go to law school. I went into the industrial background. I'm an industrial manager at the chemical plant, which my father had worked there. But how I got involved is that I met a man by the name of Michael Espy, and he was running for the United States Congress. He was running to become the first African American from Mississippi for Congress. He was running to unseat what I thought was a well-grounded congressman at the time, Congressman Will Franklin. And they had gone through the primary, and I was very active. I've always been active in the community. Now, I know I don't look like it, but I used to be a modeler, a clothes modeler for a nonprofit organization in the community, which would model the clothes from the retails and take the profit and give it back to the community. And that's how I got started, modeling. I'm a little bit, but that's how I got started. I've always worn the retailers' clothes better than my own, because I can remember having to take the tag and stuff them and then model. But that's how I got started. And then I started getting involved in politics in terms of handing out leaflets, push cards, volunteer, stuffing envelope, and doing those type of things. And so finally in working, I didn't work with Mike in his primary, but in the general election, Mike Espy asked me why I worked with his campaign. and be a county organizer. Well, Dr. Wiseman, I didn't know exactly what I was taking on, but I remember going to the library. I'm bad about when I don't know, rushing to read and getting a crash course on what it is before I get there. And that's not good for you now, so that's not a good ingredient. I'm going to tell you the 5 B's that I think will help you develop into whoever you want to become later on. But at that time, I rushed and got this book on Mayor Daley. He was the mayor of Chicago, and talked about the grassroots type politics, the precinct type politics. That's how Democrats used to win. They used to start from the ground up and organize precinct, and you have this 72-hour rush on getting the vote out. And I got to reading it, and I organized it. And I said to myself, I said that, now, not that I've always been an opportunist, but I did take advantage of that opportunity by saying that if I could win this election, then I can become somebody. You know, when you help somebody become better, you have to share in that some kind of way, or take credit, as we do in politics. We take credit for it. But anyway, then I helped with him, and I helped organize it, and I never forget it that night. Bill Manor was, it was rainy, and to make a long story short, Bill Manor was announcing that Mike Essery was going down in defeat. And we knew at the headquarters that that was not true. My assignment was only to get within 6,000 votes of Webb Franklin in Warren County. Well, when we saw the numbers, I knew that we was within 6,000 votes. And he had, and I don't know if you remember, he had to apologize that night for announcing that Webb Franklin had won, when actually Mike, they hadn't counted Warren County votes. And we knew at that precinct that we had won the election, and used to being with Mike and all of us, I mean, we just knew it was over. But that memory I would never forget. But we stayed within the 6,000 votes, and we won it. And then Mike came along and asked me, he said, "You did such a good job in organizing and putting the community together and putting the pre-kin capital together. Won't you run yourself?" Well, there was 3 others that had tried to run to become the first African American from Vicksburg in this district. And there's protocol, because I believe, and I was taught, to always respect your elder. I mean, you find me now still saying yes sir and no sir. It was just something about my father's teaching that, son, your personality will take you where, and a good attitude will take you sometime where other things won't. And I learned that. But anyway, so I went to the guys that won before, and they all told me that yes, we think you ought to run. And from that, and they all endorsed me, and I ran for this office, never knowing what a capital. I didn't even know what a capital was. And I know now, but I didn't know then how much the job paid. You pay attention to a job and how much the salary is when you stay on it for a long period of time. But at the time, I didn't. And I remember calling before leaving, because we didn't have cell phones, getting the direction to the Capitol. But this is what I remember so profoundly, is that I remember how proud my daddy, which is not with me now anymore, but he lost his life in a chemical exposure. But I remember my daddy and how proud he was, and taking credit by saying to me that you won because of my name. See, I'm George Fagg Jr., and he was George Fagg Sr. But you know, he was telling me something. He said a good name will go a long way. And then I remember my daddy telling me, and as I said this morning, is that if you don't work, you will steal. And I guess that's to keep cutting the yards and do all the things that we was doing, and the janitorial work that we used to do. But he used to tell me that. But what he was trying to tell me in his own way is that honesty go a long ways. And whatever you do, be honest in what you do. So I had developed that attitude of that your word is your bond. I never, my dad had never signed a note in those days. I guess you do now, about signing a note on borrowing money. He just went and got the money and he brought it back when he said. Well, now you have to sign your life over. All kind of collateral. But anyway, and he was telling me that. And I said all this to say this, is that I hope that I'm encouraging you to get involved in politics and to be whatever you want to become, because the opportunity is there. Not only because you're a student in Mississippi State, but you're a product of Mississippi. And Mississippi has a history of people exceeding themselves, such as John Gritzer and others. So I'm saying that but you have to prepare yourself. Now, there are 5 B's that I think that helps develop me. And I think it helped develop you. And I'm only talking to the students because I think it's important in public policy, as a public servant, or as a leader, or as a CEO, whatever you decide to be, or lawyer, whatever it is. That's the kind of attitude I believe, and these are the 5 B's. And when I talk about politics, and every campaign I ever run outside of targeting the votes and determining how I want to win and having a plan to win. You must have a plan to win. In anything you do, you must have a plan. But beyond my plan to win, I believe in these 5 B's. They're simple, but I think they're so profound. And I have no shame in none of them. And I know they may seem elementary, but I've read Lee Iacocca. I've read how he brought Chrysler back, and I read Bill Clinton, Huey Long, Ron Reagan, Howard Baker. I read so many books about politicians, and I still see this recipe in it. Well, whether you're Republican or Democrat or whatever philosophy that you may have, I think you're entitled to that. America allows you that privilege to be who you want to be. It's a freedom that we enjoy and sometimes we take advantage of. The freedom of speech, the freedom to believe and do what you please. Only in America you can do some of the things that you do and get away with it. But I say that America provides that. So when you see a soldier, or when you see a veteran, or you see someone that have stood up for this country, you should honor them and you should thank them, because we fight for the freedom we enjoy in this country, and we protect the freedom we enjoy. But let me just share with this, because I want to be able to answer some questions about the little bit I know about politics. And I say that here because at the Capitol, with the ego I got, they seem to think that, and sometimes the press too seem to think I know it all. But because I'm very accessible to the press, but I won't lie. I give you my honest opinion, and that's it. Is that I believe the first B is you have to believe in God. I believe that in order to be successful at whatever you do, you have to have somebody higher that know more than you and that better at that than it is, and someone that can't be wrong, that's been right all the time. You know, I just believe that you have to believe in something bigger than man. And then you have to believe in yourself. You can't be anything that you want to be if you don't believe that you can do it. You have to believe that you can do it. If you're right, you're right. Now, I don't argue with a wall, because sometimes I say to myself, why argue with a wall when you can create a door? But I do believe that when I'm right, I'm right. And I've had teachers to dismiss me when I was coming up because I was a very opinionated person, and still is to a degree, but I had to kind of transform myself in order to adapt to this mainstream political environment. I can't know it all now. But deep down in my side, I believe I can be anything I want to be. No man can tell me I can't be anything. If I want to run for governor tomorrow, and I set my mind on running for governor tomorrow, I believe I can win. I don't take defeat. And even when there is defeat, I find victory in it. I find the good in defeat. And I blame me. I don't give my responsibility to nobody. God gave it to me. God gave me who I am. He gave me my potential. He gave me my opportunity. And I believe in me. Nobody gonna tell me I can't be what I want to be. Nobody ought to tell you you can't be what you want to be. Don't let them. If you're a D student, strive to be a C. If you're a C, strive to be a B. If you're a B, strive to be an A. Perfect yourself within yourself. Don't let nobody tell you you can't own your own company. Don't let nobody tell you what to do. Believe in yourself. The other is that you have to be strong. You have to be strong. And I say this to the students because there's peer pressure. There's so many pressure, political pressure now, pushing against us and want us to do. I'm a Democrat. The governors is a Republican. There are Republicans I serve with, there are Democrats I serve with. If they're right, they're right. If they're right, they're right. If it's good for Mississippi, I go with it. If it's not, I stand by my conviction. I had to convince the governor. Me. It's been written about it. I had to convince the governor that if you fully fund education, if you give the same child in DeSoto County, in a mid-county, or in Natchez, or in Mount Bayou, the same educational opportunity, we all could grow. It's fun. You can't expect Rolling Fork, Mississippi, with no tax base, to have the calibers, the quality of school is DeSoto or Rankin. So you have to have that feeling. It's one Mississippi, Governor. It's one of us. Everything we do represents us, one. And he understands that now. Nobody got elected not saying they're going to full fund education. That's monumental for this state. The other thing, you have to be determined. I mean, you have to be good. Fourth, you have to be good at what you do. Practice perfect. Perfect practice make good. Now, practice, I mean, you might get what you know, but if you practice right and practice it right, and you practice it right and you do it right, any athlete can exceed if you got the God-given talent, if you practice. I never forget my father told me, and I used this in the campaign, and I reminded myself, and you know, I refer to my father now more than ever, because my father didn't have the education that most, but I didn't know it. I didn't know that we was poor. I never knew we were poor. Well, I thought, you know, Mom and Dad gave us the best they had, and that was it. The 2 pair of jeans we had, I thought all we had to do is keep them clean, pressing, and stuff. I thought I was somebody. My mom, they had that motivation about whatever it is, it was yours. The governor didn't give it to them because we've never been on no government subsidy. Never been on welfare, none of that. They worked for it. And if you worked for it, you took care of it. And that's what they instilled in us, and I used it. But this is what my daddy told me. I understand that, Dr. Wise. He's a son. You don't have to tear a man down to build yourself up. The negative politics you see, that's going to be politics of the past. If you're an honorable person, stay honorable. You don't have to tear down your opponent to build yourself up. If you're real, if you keep it simple and keep it real and honest, it'll resonate. People will understand it and see through it. You may not win the first election, but keep it. Somewhere you win. What I read about Abe Lincoln, about 16 times? I don't know how many times he ran for president. I mean, what I'm saying is that just keep it real. I hope the day will come and fast come where negative politics go out the way. Dudes, we need to get back to the traditional, conventional way. I tell you what I'm going to do. He tell you what he's going to do, and you vote for the best person. My opponent, you know, took some shots at me, but I wasn't going there Because I know my dad had taught me that you don't tell men, even basketball as a basketball player, you know, shooting basketball over into the night, into a bicycle rim with no nets. That's what we did. But we kept. Bird will tell you how, they talk about how the 3 points, Bird with the Celtics, he would talk about all the 300, Michael Jordan, but ask him how much they practice. Ask Tiger Woods how much he really practiced. He don't take nothing for granted. You practice, and you practice the perfect shot, and you keep doing it. The last one is you have to be determined. And out of determined to me is persevere. You have to say that if God, if with you, who can be against you? You have to say that all things are possible. You have to say that I believe I can. You have to believe that you can and do those things. You have to be determined. Your opportunity is going to come. There's no way that if you want to be an engineer, you know, I don't know how you, because I wouldn't in that area because I knew about the calculus and geometry and the trig, so you might want to work with that. But if you keep practicing the calculus and the trig and geometry, you can be that engineer. And if you work with it. And last, let me say this to you too. Keep good company. Associate yourself with the best. Keep good company. Be in good groups. Be around people that are focused. People are determined. Have you ever been around somebody that's always naked, always talking, always complaining? You know, every time you see them, their head hurt. And when you see them, you feel like handing them an asthma or a Tylenol because you know you're going to say their head hurt. They always complain. Be around those folks that want to go somewhere, want to be somewhere. Now, I don't choose my son or nobody's friendship or friends or whatever. But I'm telling you, there's something about associating with, am I right there, with good people. And know this, is that in order to become a leader, you have to be a good follower. Everybody follows somebody. No, there's no instant leaders. You're born a leader by virtue of you exercising your ability and doing things, but always be willing to follow. Now, as I tell everybody in closing, that at one book, and I think it's okay for me to announce that book in Mississippi State. Well, I'm going to do it anyway. But anyway, this is a great book that I read, and I think it meant the world to me and got me to understand power. Because, as I said this morning, you may not think it, but everything is political, somewhere or not. Your salary, we set it. We help with the money, and they set them here. Everything, that performance evaluation go, but everything is political. What I'm saying is that 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. It tells you how to handle the power of persuasion, the power of motivation. It tells you about all of the powers that you'll encounter. And it teaches you how to recognize them, and then it shows you your consequences when you don't. Because when you go to AT&T, I'm telling you, if everybody got on blueprint strike, you will either put on blueprint strike or you won't be working for AT&T without them telling you. Sometimes you have to conform to understand. Now, I don't always get what I want in politics, but I can tell you one thing. Whoever beats me, I know they're the best. Because I'll catch you asleep. I'll catch you coming to the Capitol late. I'll catch you not in the meeting. I got on appropriation, and most of the appropriation in two committees, Appropriation, Ways and Means, is by seniority. I got on there because when I went to the legislature, I had an interest in appropriation, and I was in there every time the appropriation meeting. Charlie Cass, Chairman Cass from the Delta, an old sheriff, whom I got the highest respect for, and he'll tell you when. He called me up and he say, "You're not on appropriation, are you?" I said, "No, sir, Mr. Cap." He say, "Why you always in the meeting?" I said, "Mr. Cap, I got an interest in appropriation. Mr. Cap, I want to understand appropriation. Mr. Cap, I want to get on appropriation." Guess what? Mr. Caps put me on appropriation because you know what? I was there when the committee members wasn't. And the speaker had 3 choices. Tim Ford. We got 3 choices that he can put on there at large to balance out the committee. Everybody else had to be on consent. I'm one of the Legislative Budget Committee, which recommends to the legislature. There's 7 of us. I've been on it 8 years. There's 7 in the Senate, 7 in the House. I got on because I changed the rules. It was 5, and I convinced the speaker how you ought to have 7, and I ought to be one of them. So I got on. I've been on ever since. And if Billy McCoy is the speaker, I'll probably go back. And I chaired Juvenile Justice because my interest has always been in children. Because let me tell you, in politics, as I go to my seat or answer your question, you can pretty much size up a politician or a person that's in political office on how they treat the children and how they treat the elders. If you don't have compassion and understanding of children, and if you don't understand the wisdom of the elders and the desire, you can't understand politics. And as I said this morning, I encourage everybody to participate by doing something in the political process and getting involved. But if you decide to run for office, ask yourself whether or not you're going to get in it to make a difference. If you're in there for any other reason other than make a difference first, if you can't answer that question, you probably shouldn't run. Because if you're in there for the money, if you're in there for whatever else that your motive, then you're in there for the wrong reason. Because what America needs and what Mississippi needs is people that want to make a difference. And always know when to compromise. You don't have to give up, give in, or give out. But always know when to compromise, because there's 174 of us, including the governor, and all of us got egos as big as the Capitol. We can't win them all. We can't win them all. But know the rules of the game, how to play the rules of the game, stay in the game, and don't take it personal. And lastly, and I say this because I believe this, stay away from your emotion. Anytime your emotion exceeds your intellect or your intelligence, you're probably going wrong. Because the mind, your intelligence, your intellect will share with you what's right and what's wrong, whether it's biblical, whether it's moral, or whether it's legal, or whatever it is, if you comprehend it right. But when you get in your emotion, you'll always go wrong. Don't run against Elliott for student body president because he 5'6" and you 6'2". You got a problem with somebody short lead. You know how you hear about the short man syndrome or the short person syndrome? Or because he wear a red shirt and you wear a blue shirt. Leave the personality alone. Run for student government because you believe that you want to make a difference in Mississippi State. You want to bring in, and always force coalition. Yes, there's 47 Republicans. Yes, there's 78 Democrats. Yes, there's 37 blacks in the legislature. But guess what? When I go, I'm looking at 62 votes for a simple majority. If there's a ways and means, I'm looking at 3/5. And I'm going to package my presentation that I'm bringing them on. And they come at me all the time. You know, the media, I get it from all sides. The Black Caucus get me. I used to be the chair. They get me because I'm in the conservative coalition. The only black in the conservative coalition. I watch O'Reilly. I watch Fox. You know what I'm talking about? I watch ABC and CBS sometimes. But I like challenges. I like how O'Reilly gets in your face. You know, But like I told him this morning, the thing I like about O'Reilly, at the end, he always gonna give you the last opportunity to say whatever you're gonna say. He never dismiss you out of anger. You notice that? Now, during the course of the debate, he's always angry in your face. That's television. That's television. That's all it is. And he's good. Rush Limbaugh. I don't agree with everything he said. But what happened when he's right? George Bush, the president, he's Republican, I'm Democrat. I don't believe in everything he said, but what happens when he's right? Can I go with him? I think I can be a Democratic president. I've been there 20 years and never voted to raise anybody's taxes. I'm pro-life. I got the endorsement of the Rifle Association. I think I can be governor. I mean, is there something wrong about me because I'm a Democrat? Huh? You are who you are. I am who I am. I am what I am. And I'm who I am and what I am wherever I am. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Representative Flags? You want to come back up?
I'd like for you to give your opinion of the upcoming speaker of the House between Billy McCoy and
I still believe that Billy McCoy will have the votes at the end of the day, meaning when we go in January 8th to become the speaker. I know, and in fact, I got 6 phone calls saying somebody on the list that went out had changed their mind. People go and come. They persuaded he's a young guy, and they're going to do that. But at the end of the day, the numbers will line up with Billy McCoy, because there are 2 things that set him apart. And I believe that Billy McCoy, regardless of what you think about it, believe in education and believe in health care. And the other part of this that probably don't play into some of my colleagues like they do. This man been near death 3 times. He had an aneurysm and a stroke. He can't use the right side of his body. Now, I don't believe that God saved him 3 times for nothing. Now, that's just me. He's so resilient. And I like somebody that never gives up. I like somebody that never uses the weakness to get up. I mean, he shows his strength. So I believe that'll prevail. Besides, he's all I got.
I think you have another one.
Yes, could I have you count B number 4 and B number 5? I perceive that you use B number 1.
B number 1 is believe in God. B number 2 is believe in yourself. B number 3 is be good. B number 4 is to be strong in your conviction, strong against peer pressure, that kind of thing. And B number 5, be determined, persevere. Be determined to succeed. Let no man tell you can't succeed. And these are the things that you have in your mirror in your bathroom. The B's. We have to remind ourselves. That's our church song, and that said, sometimes I had to encourage myself. Sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Sometimes you have to pat your own self on the back. There's some truth to it. Then there's a biblical saying that sometimes you have to go if you have to go by yourself. So what I'm just simply saying, start with you. And as I say about the blame, man, I'm just telling you, stop blaming somebody else for your shortcomings. Share the blame sometime. And you don't have to always take credit. I don't care. I got the Juvenile Justice bill passed because Charlie Ross was running for lieutenant governor. Didn't win, but he was running and he wanted credit for the bill. Guess what? When it got to the Senate, he was chairman of the committee. I took everything that I wanted in my bill that passed the House overwhelming and put it in Charlie's bill because Charlie wanted to be lieutenant governor and some. And knew the governor was going to sign the bill because he liked Charlie. So everything I wanted in juvenile justice law. I mean, it's a process. I mean, it's a true. Ask Charlie. He just wanted to give a DA a salary in Madison County, and he wanted to do something with a judge. I said, Charlie, that's fine with me. As long as I'm going. Don't worry about worry about if the mule is blind. Just load the wagon. Just go on. And as I tell them, I'm not a Republican, but I tell them all the time, if I tell you elephant can fly, look at the sky. I mean, I believe that because I've looked at that. But that's what it is. I mean, don't try to, pride in authorship. I don't care. I just want it if that's what you want. I mean, if I found a pay raise bill and I can get it in there some kind of way, that's just part of a process. Stop trying to take credit for everything. You'll get it. Sometimes we get it when we're dead and gone, but you'll get it. John Grissom had no idea, other than himself and believing in himself, that John knew that he was going to be the writer. He didn't want to be a legislator. Remember, John always took on the bar association. John never believed that you should have to be a member of the bar in order to be a lawyer in Mississippi. We still got it now. He didn't get it. But he never believed that. But every time that bill hit the floor, John fought it. He still is there. He didn't believe that you should have to be a member of the bar to practice law in Mississippi. That's just what he asked him. He hadn't changed. I mean, he literally just go off on that. But he knew he didn't want to be a legislator. John went by night. John Grissom went by night. He charted his own path. He made his own trail by night. He knew that he wanted to be a writer. He only went by the legislature to get there. And that's why John is where he is today. And from what I understand, he's fairly wealthy. And more than $10,000 a year as a legislator. But again, I'm so humble, and I just thank those that was convinced enough to this university to allow me to come here. This has been such a rewarding experience. And I'm telling you, I'm so impressed with Mississippi State, its staff, its students, its facilities, its everything. It's just a testament of what happens when we put our priorities in education and institution. I've been telling them all the time, invest, the best investment you can make in a person, in an institution, is here. I mean, go to Jackson State. It's unbelievable what these universities are doing now. And y'all, as hard as I fought to keep the tuition down, y'all still fooled me. Y'all exceeded yourself. I think you got one of the highest enrollment. You got the highest enrollment in the university this year. Because I still believe, and I think tuition is a tax increase. I know somebody wanted me to say that. I still believe that. I believe tuition increase is a tax increase. Mr. President, when you come to the Capitol, I believe that tuition, I think it's the responsibility of the legislature to fund education so that when their students graduate, they won't be indebted. We can do it. We can put 18 cents on a pack of cigarettes, Governor. That's $100 million a year. There's a whole lot of things you can do. Taxes, that's the only tax that I lack. I would not vote for an income tax increase. I would not vote for, and I did vote for a sales tax increase. I would not vote for ad valorem taxes. I believe you ought to pay within your means, but I think there's something wrong about keeping a package of cigarettes at 18 cents a pack when it has a direct impact to your Medicaid of $248 million, $678 million to your health care plan. I think there's something bad about that. Governor, sometimes Haley listen. And if he listens, I want him to know that. But we can do, I think that's just one area we need to look at. But he's talking about a tax restructuring, and we're going to work with him. I think the election's over, and when we get there January 8th, I'm willing to work with those. With two sets of people that speak, we listen. In my opinion, Judge. When a jury speaks or the judge speaks, I listen. And when the elected speak, I listen. Because the jury is it, and the jury is it. And but I think that's going to be, we're going to have some challenges, but I think we'll make, and you know what I like about the legislature? I don't care what they say, and I know that when you read everything about us and you see all kinds of cartoons. I love it. I enjoy it. I don't want a job that I don't enjoy. And I'm telling you, I just want to make a difference. There's nothing in the legislature that I got to have. If I lose the speaker race, which I don't think, but if I lose it, I'm going to still call the next speaker Mr. Speaker and do it again. I'm going to do my job. I may not be on my preference committee. My speaker win, because I'm 1 inside of 5 on this speaker. But if I get on the tail end, I'm still going to work. Because at the end of the day, what matters, as Ron Reagan said, that always remember this, and I never forget Ron Reagan said that if it makes good policy, know that it will make good politics sooner or later.
Thank you, Representative Flax, for coming today and speaking. We actually have a little gift for you for your time, and we thank you for your words of encouragement and to give to us. Thank you all for coming out today to hear what Representative Flax has to say. We'll now conclude the program. We have refreshments over here to the side at the end. So thank you all for coming, and the program is concluded.
I get one of y'all too in front of you.
Come up here.